Hey, this is Joan Fullerton, and I'm here with some tricks for you in terms of taking art supplies when you're traveling. We would all like to keep that simple so that it isn't cumbersome and heavy, and that yet you still have enough to work with. When I travel, I usually keep a sketchbook, and I like to do pencil drawings, and I like to use felt tip pens with wash. Water soluble and permanent pens are part of my arsenal. And then sometimes in my sketchbook, I like to make little watercolor sketches like this one. And it's good if you have a little heavier paper than I had, but it worked fine. And I just used this simple little children's tin of watercolor paints, very inexpensive and small. And then I added a tube of white acrylic paint to that just to extend my options a little bit. Now, here's a step up. This one is a small palette, and it's got little cakes of pigment in it, and the pigment quality is actually better than the children's, and I'm missing a few here, but you can replace those at the art supply store. That being said, I'll probably use this palette. This is a plastic palette from Cheap Joe's Art Supply, and he's online if you want to go there and buy one. I like it because it's small for travel. And it's got the large areas for mixing washes, and then the little wells for putting your tubed watercolor paint in there, which is the highest quality of watercolor paint and will give you great results because it's got so much color per binder. Now, when I do a larger painting, I'm still not going to go huge when traveling, so I decided I would only go as large as 15 by 11, 11 by 15, which is a quarter sheet of a large watercolor paper. So the large paper is 22 by 30, and I like the 140 weight paper. It's heavy enough that it doesn't really buckle that much, and it will take all kinds of abuse if I want to do mixed media and acrylic and even oil. And then it has to have backing because paper is floppy. So I get some foam core, which is a 1/4 inch thick. And I had Hobby Lobby cut this for me into two pieces. Each piece is 12 by 16, just slightly larger than my watercolor paper. And then I put it into a white plastic garbage bag and allowed enough flexibility that it would open and close. And then I did this like fabulous job of taping it, right, with the blue tape. And now it's secure in there and it closes, and yet it will open and I can put my paper in there, and it's just a pretty good surface to paint on as well as to travel with the paper inside, like a little portfolio. So putting the paper in there, you could put it in a larger plastic bag and put this in your suitcase and have it be very well protected. When you arrive and you're ready to paint, then you take a paper out and you can fold it back on itself so that it's a totally flat surface. And then you could tape all the way around with blue tape. I used the blue, not because I want the color, but because it comes up easy, so it won't rip my plastic. Now, if you don't want to use tape, you can get 4 little clips and clip each corner, and this will make it secure and just works really well. Then, let's say that you want to do acrylic or oil. Well, I would gesso the surface. And then, because usually I like to work vertically when I'm doing something that isn't as soupy as watercolor, then you can make this wonderful little easel out of this contraption. And you would once again secure your paper to it. And then, so it doesn't slide, you can fasten a little bit of more of that blue tape to each side, just creating this little hinge. And you might want it a little wider than what I'm showing you here, but hinge it on both sides. And then you've got this stable little situation that could sit on the table, another chair, a wall, and give you a wonderful way to look at your art while you're painting. Hope that was helpful, and I'll be back to you with some mixed media ideas.